Yes, it turns out the Guinness Book of Records is a fake, which I learned after this moment from H. Bomber Guy.
And just in case it needs to be said, no, Guinness are not a real record-keeping organisation. They're a novelty book company. It's already a pretty common joke that most of their records are just silly stuff someone made up so they can have a record. Like, most baseball bats broken in 1 minute. That's a silly one I just made up now. Just kidding, it's real. I don't really mind if Guinness track a bunch of silly records. It's just a bit of fun, really. But they are an utterly for-profit organisation, not just in terms of sales of books, but also sales of records.
And there's another thing I didn't really pay attention to before, the name itself, Guinness. It's the very same company that makes beer, and as they themselves write about it, in November 1951, Sir Hugh Beaver, the managing director of Guinness Brewery, was out hunting and got into an argument with someone about which bird was faster, and it turned out there was no reference book at hand that could give a final answer to questions like that. So, just like the Michelin Guide, they decided to launch their own reference book, which, if you didn't know, also appeared after the Michelin company thought about how to better sell their tires, developing routes for motorists with advice on where to eat well. Initially, it even included where to sleep and where to refuel. A good, complete guide, especially considering that there was no internet back then, and the more people drive, the faster their tires wear out, and the more tires they buy. And these are great ideas. When you personally lack something, you create it, and it will definitely resonate with others. Or you make a guide to increase tire sales. In any case, you're doing something useful, even if it's in the entertainment sphere. And that's exactly how I would describe the Guinness Book of Records when looking at the very first book that came out in 1955. But the difference between how it started and what it became is much bigger than you might think. Initially, as they themselves write, this book was distributed for free in pubs as a promo, but it became so popular that, again, according to them, people started simply stealing it from those pubs, and so they began selling it. Overall, you can stop relying on their own words right there. Whether to believe it or not is up to everyone. I believe the book really was conceived that way during a hunt, but the story about thefts could very well have been invented to make the story sound nicer. In any case, in 2024, the Guinness Book of Records earned almost $5 million in net profit, converted to dollars. Not revenue, but net profit, after taxes and salaries. Because if we look at total revenue, it comes out to a bit over 41 million USD in 2024. Do that many people really want to know which bird is the fastest? The point is that in 2008, they sold the rights not just to the book, but to the entire brand. And already in 2009, the new owner launched a B2B direction, where records are made as PR campaigns for brands. This is directly stated in their own timeline. You pay for Guinness to officially say, yes, this is true. If you have money and want to get into this book, so that later you can stick it on as a gold sticker on packaging, on a video, on a shop window, on advertising, or even on yourself. And at this moment, the reference book with final answers turns into a business of certifying attention. In total, you have two paths if you decide to make, say, the most expensive chain with a Pokemon card. Free. You can submit an application, wait, correspond, clarify the rules, collect evidence, and then, if they themselves find it interesting, they may include you in the book or even film how many bats you can break in 1 minute. The application review, by the way, takes 3 months. They state this in the email. But since 2009, there's also a paid path, paid priority. Your entry into the system is accelerated. And the tastiest part, an on-site judge. You pay for the presence of a person with the Guinness logo who will do the main thing, create the moment. A photo, a stamp, a certificate, footage for editing, and a news hook for the media. And from that point on, it's no longer about sport, not an encyclopedia, not a story about the fastest bird, but a simple marketing service. They can organize a record at a brand event. Moreover, they can arrange it so that the record coincides with the launch date of your product. And the record itself can be formulated in such a way that only you qualify. That's possible if you name the category correctly. And how do you think, if an organization makes money from you becoming the next record holder for how many straws you can stuff into your mouth, How interested is it in saying no? It turns into a very convenient scheme for everyone. You buy authority. Guinness sells authority, and everyone else doesn't even understand how it works. In the world of paid records, a record is often planned as a content product, nothing more. What started as a final answer in an argument ended as a final argument in marketing. If you're curious how much it costs to get into the Guinness Book of Records, I found information about roughly $25,000, which of course is very cheap for a company that wants to cover its walls with purchased certificates. The price isn't fixed and can rise even to $500,000 if you need to do something really large scale. I don't want to drag the video out. That's everything I wanted to say about these questionable records. The channel has just started, and I'd be happy to see your comment, like, or, if you like the video even more, a subscription.
Set and go.